Fire risk management for managing agents. Understanding the essentials. Legal requirements. There is a legal requirement to ensure that the person responsible for a premises manages the risks posed by fire. These responsibilities are defined in legislation referred to as the Regulatory Reform Fire Safety Order 2005. In this video, we will discuss who the responsible person is, as defined in the law, assessment of the risks, common pitfalls, ongoing management, what can happen if the requirements of the order are not met. Responsible person. By definition, a responsible person may be the employer, the managing agent or owner for shared parts of a premises or shared fire safety equipment such as fire warning systems or sprinklers, any other person who has some control over any part of the premises, a combination of the above, depending on how ownership and duties are defined. Risk assessment. The responsible person must make a suitable and sufficient assessment of the risks posed by fire. This is referred to as a fire risk assessment. The risk assessment activity should involve a competent person visiting the site to assess the property, inspecting all communal areas and considering the following: fire hazards, who could be harmed and how, existing precautions, whether or not further precautions are needed to reduce the risk. The findings should be documented in a report with recommended prioritised actions. A competent person. The responsible person must ensure that the fire risk assessment is completed by someone who is competent. A competent person is defined by the Health and Safety Executive as someone who has sufficient training or experience or knowledge, as well as other qualities that allow them to assist you properly. The level of competence required will depend on the complexity of the situation and the particular help you need. For fire risk assessment, this should include a formal fire risk management certification and membership to a professional organisation such as the Institute of Fire Engineers. Verification of these qualifications from all chosen contractors is recommended. Risk considerations. As part of the risk assessment, the following hazards will be considered as an example: sources of ignition, sources of combustion, means of escape, fire and smoke spread, fire extinguishing methods, fire detection and warning, emergency lighting, management procedures, safety signage, number of occupants, and type of construction. Action plan. Once the fire risk assessment has been completed, you will be provided with an action plan. The action plan will tell you if any further work is needed to reduce the risks. The action plan will need to be addressed in order of priority and within the timeframe specified. Review. A fire risk assessment is not a one-off exercise. The document should be reviewed regularly, although there is no specific guidance provided in relation to the frequency of review. It is recommended that the document is reviewed annually or following any significant change that may suggest it is no longer valid, whichever occurs sooner. Any changes that have occurred should be included in the review and documented. An action plan should be reissued and recommendations addressed. Copies of the fire risk assessment and any reviews should be stored in a safe place. A copy may be requested by the local fire authority. What can go wrong? A fire risk assessment is a legal requirement. Failure to maintain an up-to-date assessment and/or to take remedial action to any identified risks is an offence. Action can be taken by an enforcing authority if a premises under your management is deemed a risk to life. An enforcing authority can include the local authority, the Health and Safety Executive, the Fire Authority. Under the fire safety order, the enforcing authority has a right to enter any premises that they feel poses a risk to safety. Prosecution. Failure to address the risk of fire safety can result in action by an enforcing authority. Depending on the deemed level of risk, a notice can be served to the responsible person. This includes an alterations notice, an enforcement notice, or a prohibition notice. The notice served is dependent on the failure by the responsible person and the severity of the outcome should a fire occur. Where a notice is served, this can amount to an offence under the order, leading to a prosecution. Summary. Establish your level of responsibility. Arrange a suitable risk assessment for areas which you are responsible. Ensure that the assessment is completed by someone who is competent. Review the findings and address any recommendations. Review the assessment regularly and document the reviews.